Hi, this is Mark News from Plant Talk Radio. Thanks for subscribing and listening to our podcast, Your Gardening Questions from Plant Talk Radio. If you have a gardening question you'd like our host Fred Howard to answer, send him an email. The email address is fred@planttalkradio.com. Now for today's question.
Good morning, Fred. This is Hilda, and I have some questions for you that are really a nightmare for me. The first one's easy. Is it okay to transplant some hostas that are small from around a tree? Is it okay to transplant them now because that's when I can deal with them?
Well, Hilda, I'm going to say that you're putting the plants at some risk, but if they're small plants and you can get a good-sized clump of soil, I have done that, and I've been quite successful at it. Once again, prepare the new spot. Have it ready, have the hole even opened for that matter, and then dig the plant in the evening while it is full of moisture, and it'll come along a lot better. Then, of course, follow up, because I've been a little careless after I've done a couple of things like that where I don't water again soon enough. I water the day of the transplant and the next day to get the soil settled in and so on. Then, if I'm not being careful, I let it go 7 to 10 days, and by the 10th day, they're laying there pretty exasperated. So just with that clue, I'd say go for it. But I would do it in the evening when they're gaining moisture and retention of it and so on. And then even if you find the soil fell away or whatever, if you can adjust a nozzle and you've gotten down toward bare root, do mist the plants a time or two the following days, 10 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. But I would say go for it. I've been quite successful. Now, if it's a plant I paid $25 for, that's a little different story. I'd be cautious, really cautious. But if it's a seedling from your own plants, you can put them at a little bit more risk, I think.
Okay, now I am probably setting myself up for some failure, but because we have such rich soil from putting compost in it almost every other year, it's very hardy, and the hostas look like they're from the nursery. They're that beautiful. Mm-hmm. Is it okay to plant them in the sun? Because I have a whole row that's going in the sun around a shed back there. Am I setting myself up for failure planting them in the sun?
You're setting the plants up for significant risk. Let me tell you just a very short story first. I have hostas. They were in a position where a great big pine tree shaded them in the morning, an hour or so of sun in the afternoon, and then the honey locust shaded them on into the evening. They were doing fine. The pine died. The neighbors took the pine down, and the next day the sun was about 6.5 hours, happened to be brilliant summer sun. It cooked them. Now, they did not die. They just looked pitiful in terms of being somewhat burned, edges and holes in the middle and so on. I left them alone. Following year, they came up almost as if nothing had gone wrong. So, yes, you're setting up a risk. And it depends. Are these deep green plants or are they lighter foliaged?
They're variegated. They look like they got some white in them, or light green. Okay. If I had to say anything, I would say they're variegated.
Okay. That increases the risk a little bit. However, let's just assume you don't have much choice.
Hey, thanks again for listening to our podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our other podcasts as well, the Plant of the Week podcast and the Plant Talk Radio podcast, all on iTunes or your favorite podcast player. If you'd like to sponsor a daily podcast, contact us at fred@planttalkradio.com. To find out more about Fred Howard and Plant Talk Radio, visit our website, planttalkradio.com.
Hi, this is meteorologist Jennifer Naramore. You hear my daily forecast. Now you can check out our podcast about one of nature's most fascinating phenomenon, tornadoes. You'll hear from scientists, storm chasers, and storm survivors. Plus, stories never told before. They're so riveting you can see them in your mind. They can happen anywhere in the world, any day of the year. Don't miss the next episode of Tornado Talk.
Circle270media.com.